Sir Mohammid Farah, Britain's most decorated athlete. It has become apparent due to the BBC Panorama programme that Mo Farah was utilised L-Carnitine injection. In this video I will detail why this is problematic and the science behind L-Carnitine.
This is Immersive Sports Science not bro science.
Former leading distance coach Alberto Salizar, head of the Nike Oregan project, was believed to have led a possible system of bullying and the development of practices that possibly broke WADA rulings regarding the WADA Code of the Spirit of the Sport and laws involving prohibited substances. In order to understand the controversy around Mo Farah's incident, we need to understand what Alberto Salizar was trying to do with these other athletes. Via therapeutic use exemption, as prescribed by his doctor, Alberto Salizar possibly had Galen Rupp, the US athlete, on prednisone, an artificial hormone used to improve maximal oxygen consumption, and testosterone. What Alberto Salizar and the team were trying to do was a form of technique called micro-doping, where you try and push one's, let's say, testosterone up to the higher echelons within a normal boundary so as not to set off a positive test. Regardless of trying to improve the normal boundaries of someone's testosterone, this is still technically illegal under WADA anti-doping rules. Where the controversies lie is the micro-doping of non-illegal substances like Thyroxine, which as of 2020 is not on WADA prohibited substance list.
And it controls metabolism. Hormones in particular, we're talking about thyroxine, which is what the thyroid gland produces. Too much thyroxine in the body will lead to an increased in pulse rate, potentially cardiac arrhythmias, irregular heartbeat, and in the longer term, potentially adverse effects on bone health. Basically, it's a big risk to give anybody extra thyroxine when there's no clear indication that they need it.
Thyroxine has often been misused and abused by athletes, believing, possibly wrongly, that it can make them lighter and leaner. The thyroid gland that produces thyroxine is a complicated organ, and by merely increasing the amount of thyroxine in the body will not necessarily equate to a caloric deficit. Like with any substance in the body, there is also a small number of non-responders, and their body will not react to having this extra thyroxine in the body. In terms of Mo Farah's case, where the problem lies is micro-doping dietary supplements, such as caffeine or L-Carnitine. For example, L-Carnitine is a naturally occurring amino acid that is found in most mammals, plants and some bacteria, and the compound involved in metabolism. L-Carnitine increases short-term maximal oxygen capacity and increases glycolysis for ATP production during sub-maximal exercise. L-Carnitine in high levels can be found in red meat, dairy products, fish, beans and avocado. It is also readily available in known high street supplement stores. The rules at the time for L-Carnitine via an infusion was 50 milliliters per 6-hour period.
The L-Carnitine wasn't against it wasn't a banned substance. And I asked Dr. Brown and Alberto, like, this is all legal. They both were like, yep, we're good.
The use of pure L-Carnitine to improve performance has been noted in both human and equine sports. To achieve optimal effect before the London Marathon, Dr. Robin Chakravarti had to administer 45 milliliters pure L-Carnitine every 2 hours before performance. Now this policy is similarly reminiscent of WADA's old laws on caffeine.
In terms of dietary supplementation, caffeine can be used in order to enhance performance, and athletes were utilising this to a beneficial or unbeneficial state in early days. However, WADA banned the use of caffeine. So caffeine, just like L-Carnitine, was on the banned substance list to a certain point. Now you could only have a certain amount of caffeine within the body within a competition period. Now the difference between caffeine and L-Carnitine is that caffeine is not natural to the body, whereas L-Carnitine can be found in the body.
Bang! other equally unhealthy high-energy caffeine drinks are available. Microdoping, regardless of whether it's in the normal boundaries, is clearly an offence. Placing laws regarding microdosing on dietary supplementation is clearly problematic, as it's in all our foods and is generally considered safe.
Why would you not use them? Because they give you an advantage. The same people might say, well, why don't you allow doping? Because that can be accessible to everybody, and if it doesn't harm them, then why can't they just do doping? The definition of cheating is doing something to deliberately gain an unfair advantage. Why are we doing our sport? Are we doing it purely for performance, or is it for the competition of person against person? If it's about competition, person against person, then the need for a level playing field is exemplified.
The main argument against the use of caffeine and L-Carnitine is that it somehow runs in contrary to the spirit of the sport and ruins its integrity. Now, whether you believe it is right or wrong to take L-Carnitine ultimately depends on what you believe. Personally, I believe in the nuanced fact over fiction world of science. The use of spirit of the sport as an argument is a pretty poor argument, because it is a moralistic argument based on little fact than the educated opinion of a few, with tracings back to the days of the perfect amateur. Now, I'm not saying you should dope, far from it. After all, these are the rules of the sport of athletics, and you should abide by them if you are an athlete. And in the end, nobody likes a cheater. Another problem with the argument to ban L-Carnitine is that everything an athlete does is technically performance enhancing. Athletes train to enhance their performance. Athletes will eat well, sleep well in order to enhance their performance. Regardless of this, there is a tendency to look at each individual potential performance enhancer in its own individual context. Such examples are the controversial methods such as transcranial direct current stimulation, or stimming for short, and the use of hypoxic tents. May or may not be available to every athlete.